Hello students, welcome to our programming in C class again. In our first unit, we have learned about the data types and the different types of data types. In that, we have seen the primary data types, derived data types and the user defined data type. We know the primary or the fundamental data types are, for example, int, float, double, etc. And we have learned a derived data type. Do you remember that? The derived data type in C, we have learned arrays. We have done programs, example programs based on one-dimensional arrays, two-dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays. So you know array is a derived data type, and that can be used to represent a group of data items that belong to the same type. Arrays are always used to represent a group of data items which belong to a similar type. For example, it can be used to store an integer type of data. In case we declare an array as an integer type, only the integer values could be stored using that array. So arrays are always used to represent a group of data items that belong to the same type, whether it could be integer or float or double values, etc. But we cannot use an array to represent data items with different data types. As I think you can remember it, an array cannot be used to represent a collection of data items that belongs to different types using a single name. But C supports a constructed data type known as structures. Structures is a mechanism that is used for storing data of different types. So structure is a convenient tool for handling a group of logically related data items. It can be used to store or group data items which belong to different data types. For example, if we want to represent a collection of data, for example, to represent the data relating to a student. So when we represent the student data may contain the student name, which is of character type, which can be expressed as an array, and the second data type may be an integer value, that is roll number of the student, that can be represented using an integer data type. And of course the student details may contain the marks in different subjects, and the total marks may be the rank. So when we have to represent the student data is a group of data which belongs to different data types. It must contain the student name, which belongs to the character data type, and roll number, which belongs to the integer type, and many other things like marks, average marks, or total mark, rank, which could be belong to either integer or a real type, float data type. So in such cases, when we have to group data that belongs to different data types, we make use of structures. So structure is a tool or a data type that is used to represent a group of data which belong to different data type. For example, it can be used to represent, for example, as we said earlier, it can be used to represent a book, details of a book, or details of student, etc., which may contain different data items that belong to different data types. So how would you define a structure? Structures, like any other variables or identifiers, structures should also be defined first for their format that may be used later to declare the structure variables. So at first, before making use of a structure, we must declare a structure. when we declare a structure, we must specify all the members that belongs to a structure. So the format of struct statement is struct, that is the keyword. The struct keyword is followed by the structure tag. Structure tag is the name that is given to the structure. Every structure would have a name, and the structure tag is a name given for that particular structure. So at first, the format of defining a struct statement, we must first use the keyword struct followed by the structure name. The structure name is of course the choice of the user. We can give any conventional name like that we have given for any variables while declaring a variable. So structure tag can be any name, and immediately after following the struct, we open a curly brace, and within the curly braces we must specify all the member definitions of the structure. Member definition means we must declare all the variables that we wish to group inside the structure. For example, if we specify a student structure, the student structure, as we said earlier, must contain the member definitions, char, name, that we can specify as an array, and int roll number, int marks, etc. These all forms the member definition inside the structure. So the structure immediately following the struct keyword and the structure name, within the curly braces we must specify all the member definitions. That means we must declare all the members of the structures. That means all the variables that is being used in the structure should be declared within the curly braces. So the keyword struct declares a structure to hold the details of all the fields, and these all the members that belongs to a structure is called structure elements or members, and each member may belong to different data types. The structure must have a structure tag, and all the variables that is being used within the structure should be declared within the curly braces, and these all members are collectively called as structure elements or members of the structure. So for example, for declaring a structure named books, as we know, the book details may contain the title of the book, which belongs to the character data type, and name of the author, which also belongs to char data type, and subject of the book, that also belongs to char data type, and book ID, that belongs to an integer value. See, all data types, any type of data could be declared within a structure. So structure is a data type that is used to relate or group all data that belongs to any different types of data type. So here in this, struct is our keyword. Struct is our keyword. It is followed by the structure tag, that is the name of the structure. Of course, it is users conventional, so we can give any name, any conventional naming for the structure. So in this example, it indicates the structure is used to indicate the store the details of book, so we named it as books. And after declaring the structure tag, we mention all the members of the structure. All the members of the structures, that is also called the structure elements. Here, title of the book, author of the book, subject, and the book ID. These are all called as structure elements or members of the structure. the members of the structure can belong to any data type. So here for example, we declared a character data type as well as integer data type. It can be of any different data types. The keyword struct declares a structure to hold the details of all these fields: title, author, subject, book ID, etc. All these fields. And these fields are collectively called the structure elements or members, and each member may belong to a different type of data. And here books is the name of the structure and it is called the structure tag. The tag name may be used subsequently to declare variables also that have the tags structure. Here book, it forms the variable declared using the structure type. We have declared, once we have declared a structure, we can form variables of the structure type, and here book is a variable declared as the type books. So in defining a structure, we must strictly follow the syntax of declaring the structure. Mainly the template, all these structure, the whole structure, it is called the template. It should be terminated with a semicolon. And while the entire definition is considered as a statement, each member is declared independently for its name and type in a separate statement inside the template. So the whole structure is considered as a single statement. While the program is executed, the whole structure, that is the whole declaration part of the structure, will be considered as a single statement. But inside this, all the structure elements should be declared individually and should be terminated using a semicolon. Like that, we declare variables in any program. We must terminate the variable declaration using a semicolon. So in this structure also, when we use the variables as structure elements, individually all the variables should be declared individually and should be terminated using a semicolon. And there is difference between arrays and structures. As we said earlier, arrays are used to group data items that belongs to the same data type. Both the arrays and structures are classified as structured data types, as they provide a mechanism that enable us to access and manipulate data in an easy manner. Both works in a similar way, but there is difference between arrays and structures. An array is a collection of related data elements of same type. But structure can have elements of different data types. That is the first and foremost difference between an array and a structure. And an array is a derived data type, whereas structure is a programmer defined one, user defined data type. Array is a derived data type, structure is a user defined data type. Any array behaves like a built-in data type, as even though array is a derived data type, it works like a built-in data type or a basic data type. But in case of structure, we have to first design and declare a data structure before the variables of that type are declared and used. Before using that structure, we have to define and declare the structure with all its structure elements before we make use of the structure. Next, we shall see declaring a structure variable. After defining a structure format, we can declare variables of that type. For example, in this we have given an example as book. In this example, book is a structure variable. After defining a structure format, we can declare variables of that type. A structure variable declaration is similar to the declaration of variables of any other data type. but it includes the keyword struct, the structure tag name, and list of variable names separated by commas and a terminating semicolon. And we can of course define a variable of the type structure also. And we can access the structure members. We can access each and every members of a structure by making use of the dot operator. See, we can access and assign values to the members of a structure in a number of ways. The one way is to use, or the link between a member and a variable is established using a member operator. The member operator is also known as the dot operator or the period operator. So the usual way of accessing or assigning values to the member structure members is by using the dot operator, also known as the period operator or the member operator. The dot operator is usually used to assign values or to access the structure members. The next one is structure initialization. How to initialize a structure. So we have learned about defining a structure and declaring a structure, and how to access the members of the structure by using the dot operator. Now structure initialization. Like any other data type, a structure variable can also be initialized at compile time. For example, within the main function struct, here is an example given, struct, and within that we have declared two elements of the structure, that is int weight and float height. So two different variables are declared, two different data are declared with different data types. Now we have initialized the value of these structure members. We have two structure elements, that is weight and height, that of course belongs to different data types. Now how to initialize these weight and height variables? See, after declaring these member elements, we have declared student equal to, inside the curly braces we have given two values 60 and 180.75. When we give such value at compile time, this assigns the value 60 to student weight and 180.75 to student dot height. As we said earlier, the members or the structure elements could be initialized by using or it can be accessed by using the dot operator. In this case, we have instead of using a dot operator, we have initialized the values of weight and height as student equal to 60, 180.75. In this case, at compile time, it automatically assigns the value 60 to weight and 180.75 will be assigned to the variable height. Okay, this is structure initialization. Automatically this value will be initialized because there is a one-to-one correspondence between the members and their initializing values, as if we have declared two variables inside the structure. So and we have given two values while initializing the structure. So automatically the first value will be assigned to the first variable weight, and the second value will be assigned to the second variable height. Okay, but the compile time initialization of a structure variable must have the following elements. See, let's see what are the elements that must be included while initializing the structure variable. First one, the keyword struct. It must contain the keyword struct and the structure tag name and the name of the variable to be declared, and the assignment operator equal to a set of values for the members of the structure variable separated by comma and enclosed in braces. That is the way we have given here. as student equal to, within the curly braces we have given 60 comma 180.75. so each values should be separated with a comma and all the values should be given inside the curly braces, and then a terminated semicolon, and these all should be terminated with a semicolon. So this is the way of initializing the structure variables. And of course we have some rules for initializing structures. That is, individual members inside the structure cannot be initialized. We cannot initialize individual members inside the structure template. When we initialize it, the initialization will be done for all the structure elements. We could not initialize an individual member inside the structure template, and the order of values enclosed in braces must match the order of members in the structure definition. In the earlier example, as we see, when we initialize the structure elements, 60 is assigned to weight as weight is the variable that is declared at first. So while initializing the values of the variables, there is a one-to-one correspondence between the initialized values and the declared variables. So there must be a match in the order of members in the structure definition. And next one is it is permitted to have a partial initialization. That means if we declare 4 structure elements, and we can, even after declaring 4 variables inside a structure, we can initialize only the 2 variables of the structure. So partial initialization is permitted, and we can initialize only the first few members and leave the remaining blank. The uninitialized members should be only at the end of the list. That is the condition. Provided the partial initialization is permitted, provided the uninitialized members should be only at the end of the list. And the uninitialized members in that case will be assigned default values. For example, if it is declared as an integer value, if it is an integer variable, 0 will be assigned for the integer variable and for floating point numbers. If the structure variables, in case of uninitialized structure variables, if it is declared as integer or floating point type, 0 will be assigned to that corresponding variables. And for characters and string variables, a null character will be assigned. That is the case for uninitialized or partially initialized structure variables. Let's see an example program to demonstrate the use of structure. As we have seen in the example of declaring a structure, we have used the same structure here also, struct student. So here struct is the keyword and student is the structure tag, that is the name of the structure. And immediately following that is an opening brace, and within the opening brace we declare all the members of the structure. That is, here we use name, char name of 50, then int roll number, float marks, and we have declared a variable for that structure, that is s. Here s is the variable that is declared of the structure type. Now within the main function, we have given a print statement, enter information. So as you know, anything given inside the double quotes in a print statement will be displayed as such. So when we run this program, it displays the message enter information. Then print enter name. That is, after displaying enter information message, it will display enter name. So at this time, the user have to enter the name of the student. See, we have learned this statement fgetS, that is used to get the name of name, that is a set of characters. A string can be accepted with the use of get fgetS. f getS, that is followed by s dot name. As we know, s is the variable declared as the type structure. So this variable s can be used to access the member functions, or the structure elements, or the members of the structure could be accessed by using the same variable declared of the type structure. So s is a variable declared of type structure here. So s can be used to access the members of that structure. Here the name entered by the user should be assigned to the variable name. So that is done by using f getS of s dot name. S is the variable, s dot name, that is the way we access the members of a structure. As we said earlier, we use dot operator, also known as the period operator, to access the members of the structure. So s dot name comma size of s dot name comma stdin, that is the way we accept the string from string as input to the member structure element. Okay, in the next line, printf enter the roll number. So in this case, it displays the message enter roll number. Then the user enters a roll number, and we know we use the input statement scanf to accept integer values using the %d simple ampersand s dot roll. Roll is the variable declared to accept the roll number. So it is also a structure element. So we use s dot roll to accept the input from the user. And then printf enter marks. In that case, we use scanf %f. That means marks is declared as a float variable. So we use %f and s dot marks to accept the values of marks from the user. Then printf displaying the information and printf name. So this will be the output of this program will be, at first the user will be given provided with a message enter information, then enter name, and this case the enter have given his name as Jack. Then enter roll number. 23 is accepted as the roll number. Then the mark is also asked. Enter marks 34.5. It is declared as a float variable, so a real number could be accepted. Then displaying information, name is displayed, roll number, and also marks. So this is the output of this program, because we have given printf name, printf roll number, printf marks. And see, all these structure elements are accessed with the use of the dot operator. So only the structure elements could only be accessed with the help of a structure variable and the dot operator. That is an important thing to remember. Okay. Hope you understand this. Okay, we shall continue on the next session. Thank you.